Hey folks, it's day 63, Nofap. Day 60 was 1, 2, day 4, no porn. Yeah, day 4, no porn, RP subs. And I want to talk about two different subjects. One of them is the chaser effect, and the other one is I want to talk about taking like a scientific or skeptical approach to Nofap. Um, the chaser effect, if any of you had the experience of relapsing or even having wet dreams, it's that feeling you get, that those urges you get to go back to fapping after some sort of sexual act or so. It's like that sort of follow up feeling. And um, honestly, I think like from what I've heard of what I've experienced, this is where like the binging comes from, and this is really where the damage occurs. Because as much as a relapse will set you back, and you do have to reset your counter, um, it's what binging is what really like will erode your progress. You might lose a week or week and a half from a relapse, which is bad, but binging will take you back a month or more. And that's really like where you got to be careful because um, relapses do happen. But if you can find ways to overcome that chaser effect so it doesn't turn to two, three, four, 5 times, I think that's really the key to success. Because we can talk about all our strategies all you want to about how to avoid a relapse, but those things can and do happen. And so the question is like, okay, so we talk about preventing failure, but what do you do if you fail? Planning for failure. As it's called. Um, it's kind of like a strategy or a topic I've heard come up in like videos on how to study well for classes. Because there are going to be times when, like, for instance, if you're studying for a class or studying some subject, your attention span wears out. You're not able to focus as well. It's just because you're fatigued, you're tired. So then, what do you do when that stuff starts happening so that you can actually um, make the most use of your time, be effective in studying well? You need the strategies for that. So there should be strategies for dealing with that if you're on Nofap and you do end up relapsing. For me personally, I've continued to use things like cold showers and cardio and working out because um, I feel like the ultimate thing is that since you've experienced the pleasure of an orgasm, basically, um, you're essentially looking for that dopamine again. And if you've gone through a month or so of no fap, you start to forget about that. So when a relapse does occur or a wet dream does occur, it really like fires that memory back, and brings that back to front and center. And the the danger is that you're gonna want that again and again and again. And so if you can find some other way to get that, so for me, like cold showers, exercising, um, anything that gets me up and gets me moving, at least initially. Like later on, it can be something like listening to music or reading a book or so. But um, typically, the best remedy is just to get up and get out of this the state mentally and also physically that you're in. And for some people, it's going to be going out for a walk. Some people, it's going to be other things. But getting yourself up and out of that place so that you don't allow those mental associations to kind of lead you back on that path to fapping again and again and again. I think that's going to be the best approach. But yeah, cold showers. Cold showers. I mean, I talk about that a lot, and I know a lot of other folks do talk about that a lot because, you know, assuming that you're not living in like a shanty town or so, your life is that bad. Assuming that's not the case, then you most likely have access to a shower, and it's a really simple process. It doesn't require a lot of setup. You just go and you take a cold shower. It's really as simple as that. And of course, it's also been used for fat loss because of the fact that your body has to work more to keep yourself warm, and so you have to burn more calories and that sort of thing. So there's also that aspect to it, but that's more of if you have other goals that you've created for yourself. So if you want to get into better shape, and then you can use those goals and move towards those goals to move yourself away from PMO. But as far as literal actions are concerned, simple things like that, can be your go-to, but you gotta kind of like formulate a strategy. You have your strategies for preventing relapses, and your strategies for if I do relapse, and what am I gonna do to prevent a binge? And so that's what I think will have to be done for a person to have have the ability to cope with or face or overcome the chaser effect. Um, the other topic I want to talk about is taking like a scientific or skeptical approach to Nofap. Um, Given that there's kind of like two schools of thought when it comes to Nofap. There's the really skeptical folks who don't think that porn addiction exists at all, and it's just some sort of made up thing, or it's a placebo effect, um, or that Nofap is a cult. And you have the other school of thought, which is essentially like approaching Nofap from this sort of like blind faith perspective, where they're like they think they give some superpowers. They think that Nofap is gonna like make all kinds of women want them and that sort of thing. They're gonna have 20 girls come up to them because they're on Nofap, and even some really really weird stuff like, oh, that it gives them like glowing eyes and this sort of like mystical frequency or whatever. And I think the best approach is to take like a in the middle in between those two, because while you don't want to be so skeptical about it that you don't even try, you just continue with the PMO, because obviously like you're here for a reason. You're at this point where you're even considering NoFap for a reason, because PMO just isn't doing it for you. There are negative side effects to it. You're feeling that, you see that, you experience that. But at the same time, you don't want to go the other extreme where like you end up treating NoFap as the end all be all, because it's really not. You're essentially doing what Charles Duhigg has talked about. You're modifying a habit or you're replacing one, and you're doing that to cause change in conformity with your will in your life. And it's as simple as that. And this is why vlogging, this is why having a journal can be so useful, because it allows you to keep a record of your progress and your results. And essentially, like when you start off, you kind of make a hypothesis about what the effects of NoFap are gonna be in your life, whether or not it's actually gonna do X, Y, or Z things, and then you go and you test it out by actually doing NoFap. And I guess this is where it kind of gets almost like ironic, because in a sense, like for me, relapses have been kind of necessary up to a certain point. Once you've gotten to a certain point, relapses become like, obviously, like they become truly setbacks. But in the beginning, at least for me, when I would relapse, it would allow me a chance to compare myself from when I was on PMO versus when I was on NoFap. And being on PMO versus being on NoFap, I could see that difference where NoFap really was making a positive change and positive effects, and it was something I truly wanted to do. So, if you guys want to vlog, you guys want to keep a journal on the NoFap forums, approach it with in a scientific sense. Note down your days and what was going on, what what were your triggers, what were what was the routine, what was the reward that you thought you were gonna get or so, and the effects and all that kind of stuff, and you can kind of compare and contrast versus or between PMO and NoFap, and be a bit skeptical, but don't be too skeptical, because um, being balanced, being in the middle of the road is going to get you the furthest, I feel. So, anywho, I think that's all I had to talk about today. Yeah. So, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch them. And thanks for the likes, the comments, and the subscriptions. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the support. And I do hope my videos are helping at least someone out there as I make further progress in this journey. So, and thanks for joining me on this journey. So, anywho, bye.